Hi, everyone. All right. In exactly 1 week from today, students will wake up in the morning, get dressed, and head to school. It will be Valentine's Day, which should be a day about love and spreading love. As a child, I had some of the best memories of Valentine's Day. I remember trying to carry a box with candy grams bigger than myself into my kindergarten classroom. I was so excited to give everyone a Valentine's Day card. I admired the way my teacher taught us about love and acceptance, and I always thought to myself, wow, I can't wait to do that one day. I spent 4 years at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School as a student, and I will always believe those years to be some of the best of my lifetime. From bowling in the cafeteria with water bottles as the pins, to running for class president, to belting songs on the stage, to delivering roses on Valentine's Day. They really were some of the best years of my life, and I always knew I would go back one day as a teacher. Yes, that is right. Some people dream about making it on Broadway. Some people go to school to perform surgeries. My dream was to be a teacher at my high school, and I did. They always say the first year is the hardest, and while yes, there were challenges and learning curves, I really felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Have you ever felt like that before? Like you were truly living your purpose and there was nowhere else you could possibly be than right there. At the time, I figured I am 5'1", about 10 years older than these kids. There is no pretending I am anyone else other than myself. And that was the best classroom management choice I could have ever made. I was able to gain trust from my students, and that to me was everything I could have ever asked for. Trust allowed us to build relationships and learn from one another and remain a team. I didn't know it then, but the trust that we built with one another would be put to the test when we experienced what I can only word as our worst nightmare. It began on Valentine's Day, and that morning was truly like any other. My alarm didn't go off. I was in such a hurry to get dressed and get to work. It was fourth period, and we had just finished our daily role play of Romeo and Juliet. We were working on creating Valentine's Day cards and laughing about what each character in Romeo and Juliet would say to one another. We were happy, we were laughing, we were celebrating the meaning of love, until I heard the loudest noise that changed everything. There was an active shooter in my building, and it was the sound of his AR-15, and it still echoes in my ears today. Round after round, shot after shot, it didn't stop. I held my students as we all stayed down, hidden, and texting our loved ones. In those moments of darkness, when you are so unsure of what is to happen next and whether or not you will be able to just say, I love you one more time, you're not thinking about how much money you make or what designer clothes you wear. What matters the most are those around you, those that you love, and how you made them feel. All I wanted to do in that moment was tell my family how much I love them. And I'm so grateful I was able to. I quietly asked the students near me if I could say a prayer over the sound of gunshots. I prayed for someone to look over us and keep us safe. I promised those around me that we would make it out of there and that someone would come rescue us soon. There was a window behind my desk, and in that moment, I felt this warm sun on my back, and it was this safe feeling I will never forget. It'll stay with me forever. The aftermath of a school shooting is chaotic, unbearable, and gut-wrenching. Today I shared moments of what happened behind my closed classroom door, but that was just my story. Every teacher, every student, every parent that day has a different story. And after slowly beginning to hear each story, I started asking myself, how is this real life? How did this happen to my safe space? How could this happen in Parkland? Most importantly, I have learned the most pressing question to ask afterwards is, how are we going to get through this? And the answer that I found was together. On February 20th, 2018, just 6 days after the tragedy, I attended my first therapy session. I started something called EMDR. Reaching out for help was scary. I was terrified to talk about the tragedy, much less relive it. But I realized in order to be a source of support for my students, I had to be able to support myself. So I got the help that I needed, and through that learned that you don't always have to go through everything by yourself. At my first EMDR appointment, I sat down and I shared what happened from the morning that I woke up on February 14th to the moment that I got home that day. My therapist then just looked at me, and her first question was, how did you feel in that moment under your desk with your students when you felt that light on your back? I looked at her without a beat, and I said, unbreakable. Unbreakable isn't a word that just rolls off the tongue. I hadn't really used it in writing, and I couldn't recall the last time that I saw the word written out in front of my therapist. Here I was, though, just saying that I felt unbreakable. By definition, unbreakable means cannot be broken. While I was scared beyond belief and unsure what was going to happen, I knew in my heart that nothing could break room 1218. The most common question I got was, so what did you do after? How did you keep going? The word unbreakable became a mantra in my life. It was a reminder that I am unbreakable. My students are unbreakable, and the bond we share is unbreakable. I remembered that, and I knew that I could wake up in the morning and I could keep going. It would have been easy to feed into the darkness and let that control my life, waking up in the morning knowing that I would be going to work. The same place that was classified as a crime scene felt unbearable. And facing my students and having to be this source of healing for them felt terrifying. But it was when I remembered the definition of unbreakable that I remembered that I cannot let darkness win. We cannot control the actions that darkness brings, but we can control how we respond. And I chose light. The first glimmer of hope and light I began to feel after the tragedy was when this cart actually came in the mail. The 1200 building became a boarded up crime scene with all of our belongings and memories frozen in time. Many of the teachers inside of the building had to move from classroom to classroom throughout the day. I believe this cart taught me the most significant lessons in my first year of teaching. When you are given a cart, you push it, and that is exactly what I did. I pushed it through the days where I didn't think I could get up and drive to school, and the days where I felt like a new beginning was upon us. Pushing this cart taught me how to dig deep and find the inner strength to not only push through the hallways of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, but also through the imaginable time that we were facing. And of course, I made it the most extravagant cart in the world because I always say that you can take a teacher out of the classroom, but that just means he or she will put it on a cart. And also because my students deserved this. They deserved to feel the light again. They deserved to smile. And that light began to shine differently over Parkland. And it was what the community did with this newfound light that inspired me the most. I watched therapists, volunteers, service dogs, alumni, and individuals from all over the world come to our community and help us navigate through the unthinkable. I watched our students create March for Our Lives and challenge our political leaders to enact the laws that put our safety first. I watched my own students continue to show up with courage in their eyes. I was watching a broken community take a tragedy and create action together. With the support of my community, I learned to turn my pain into passion. I found what makes me unbreakable by waking up in the morning and refusing to give up, even when it felt like the world was giving me every reason to. It was finding the courage to keep going, even if it just meant getting dressed and going outside for the day. It was showing up and being surrounded by other people that helped me get through this tragic time. When I took a step back from the classroom this year, I wanted to create the same type of community that helped me heal. I wanted to help others find that power within themselves. I founded the Unbreakable organization this past July, and it has had a profound impact on my healing. Through this organization, I have been able to read and listen to stories from all over the world, from individuals about how they have overcome tragedy, but also found what makes them unbreakable. Each story is different than the other, but the common goal? Each individual found light at the end of the tunnel. Each individual was able to take their broken pieces and put them back together. We are more alike than we often realize. Everyone in this room right here and right now has gone through something that has made them unbreakable. And I want to challenge you to think about it. When something bad happens, do you find a support network or do you try to do it all yourself? I'm here to tell you it is okay to reach out for help. I believe you all have a story, a purpose, and a light from within. And I want you to remember that story, that purpose, and that light from within. And as you do, close your eyes and just think to yourself, what makes me unbreakable? And hold on to that. Your darkness does not have to look like mine in order to find what makes you unbreakable. You all have encountered darkness in different ways. Sometimes it's a big medical bill or a breakup or a loved one passing, and the darkness wants to cloud our minds. But what I have found, and I hope you can too, is that we can always choose light. Even if it flickers, even if it looks a little bit different than we remember it to be, we can always go back to the light. Thank you.